This episode of Point of View is sponsored by Michael Delozier with Aligned Insurance.
All right, everybody, we're back with Average Joe Sports Talk. We are here at the Hokes Bluff High School baseball field with a few special ladies. This is Miss Phyllis Robertson, the wife of head coach Mike Robertson, and Alex Ball, the wife of assistant coach Jake Ball. I've got my sidekick here, Niall Ford. This is my wife, and we just want to talk to these ladies a little bit about what it's like living life in the fast lane with these coaches, because we know that these coaches make a lot of sacrifices because they're on the field all the time. There's so much work that goes into it, but it's also a lot of work that these wives have to do as well. So with that said, this was kind of special for me. This is where I went to school. I love Hokes Bluff. I love everything about it. Coach Rob is one of my coaches. I love him. I'm glad to be out here, and I'm glad y'all can make it out with us today. So, yeah, I can't forget my nephew, Hunter Burke. He's also playing. He's a senior out here. And it's just a really special place, a really neat thing for me to get to do this interview. So, that being said, we just want to ask you both what it's like living life in the fast lane with coaches, because I know I see Coach Rob, Coach Ball, these guys are out here all the time. They spend a lot of time here and away from home. So what is that like?
I love it.
Yeah.
I've been doing it ever since we've been together. So I love it. Yeah. He coaches all sports, and I've always loved everything that he does. And, I like it that he's away sometimes. So.
That's what I was going to say.
Gives me a break, and,
I
do my thing. He does his. So it works.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I lived in Birmingham when Buddy and I started dating, and he brought me around Hokes Bluff. Really, our first date was in Hokes Bluff. And just being around the community, like, there's something uniquely special about Hokes Bluff and their sports programs. Sports are big everywhere, but the way it is here and the community and the way everyone supports it, you just don't find that everywhere.
It's like a family.
It is. It really is like a family. So that's one of the things that, I don't know, it just stood out about him to me in the beginning too, just because of Hokes Bluff and everything and the tradition and family and all of that. So that's a big deal.
It is.
So, and I was going to ask, like, so when you met Coach Rob, was he already coaching?
He was. He was at Southside his first 2 years.
Okay.
And he was coaching baseball down there and football with Randy Ross and Jeff Davis and Blanton was his first name.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Anyway, so Coach Blanton. And so, that's where he got his start, and we started dating there. And when he moved to Hokes Bluff, we were getting married that summer right before he was coming out here. And I loved Southside when he was there, because I went to Etowah and it was a big school, and I was kind of used to that. Yeah. And he said he was coming to Hokes Bluff, and I was like, Hokes Bluff.
You weren't sure what you think.
Wasn't sure when he got out here, then years go by, and I love it. I would not want to be any other place.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were a Blue Devil.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I was.
Well, and then so that's pretty much like you've always been.
Yes, I don't know.
Yeah.
I had to marry a coach.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Get it off.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Did you say, all right, I'm going to marry a coach, or did it just happen by coincidence?
It was meant to be. When Jake came back to Hokes Bluff after Coach Ball passed, and Jake came back, I was like, there's Jake Ball. What's he doing here? And it fell into place, and it was just neat because it just picked up and just circle of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you were 12, did you have a list?
When they won the 2001 championship game, they had their picture taken together, and with Brad, so it was neat. So look at those pictures. But we've known Jake, ever since he was little. Never would have thought those two would get together.
Well, see, and that's one thing. I grew up military, right? So we moved around constantly. And when my dad retired, he wanted us to have a few years in high school at one school without having to leave and bounce around. And when I met him, he was talking about, I've known so-and-so since I was 3 years old. I've known this. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is all I've wanted, my whole life. And you see movies about places like this. And I mean, here we are. That is a very special
Yes.
You know, where everybody knows everybody. It's just, it is.
It's always been like that. And I taught this one here in swimming lessons. So it's just it's so neat to see them grown up and now they have their families. And it's something special about the community. Everybody seems so close. And there's not a game that I haven't been to where the mayor's always here.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
he's
you've got
always
a mayor that's involved in everything,
Yes.
Scott Reeves. So it's an awesome community. Now, last year when COVID hit, okay, what was that like? Because you got children home last year.
Yeah, so we had to end baseball season early, and that was a bummer because, for those seniors especially. And, then just being at home, and at the time, Brad was not married, so he was at home with us, and so we started doing projects around the house, I think like everybody else did.
Yeah.
But, it was just kind of weird.
I feel like a lull.
It
This
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake was like, I've got
That's
to be
not
doing
fun
something.
time off.
Yeah.
At all.
No.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's where a lot of times, he's umpiring during the spring, which I found out I was pregnant last March. So when COVID and all of that hit, I was right in the beginning. And so I was like, hey, we have all of these projects we can do to get ready.
Yeah.
But I know at the end of it, it was just a weird thing when you miss a whole season
Oh,
of
yeah.
baseball.
I enjoyed the family time, but I missed like Maisley and Jax. Jax was supposed to play T-ball. It was supposed to be his first year of T-ball, and we didn't get to do that. I was like, I loved us being at home, but at the same time, I was like, I miss.
Well, there's
the
nothing
things.
like being at the ball field too, you know.
yeah.
So we had a thought when we were talking about it, where you said some after ball games, what you wondered when they were talking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like after games, I gotta know if y'all ever coached the coach. It's on.
Jake always comes
Any,
home. It's always a
corrective-
thing.
What do you call it?
Oh yeah.
Criticism.
No, not criticism, but definitely Jake. Well, when we're home, which he gets home way later than we do.
Yeah.
I'll wait up and he'll say, "So what'd you think?" And I'll just be like, "Well, and I'll just give him. He likes to talk about
Get the
all
feedback.
the things. Yeah, not so much critiquing, but like
Yeah.
just like to hear what it looked like. But he always wants to know what'd you.
Yeah.
I'll be more than happy to tell him what I thought.
Now, Coach Rob is totally different. If they lose or win, if he wins, it's a little different, but he's quiet,
Yeah.
and he tries not to bring it home.
Yeah.
So he
That's
tries to leave it here on
So,
the field.
yes, and then,
Yeah.
maybe a day or
Tries.
so later we might start talking about it, but, right off it's like, and, I know when to talk to him and when not to.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things he was talking about about a week ago. We were at the Pleasant Valley game, and he was just talking about it still bothers him. A loss or
Oh,
something still
gosh.
bothers him. Says he can't sleep at night. But
Yeah.
I think if you're a great coach, it's going to bother you no matter how long you're coaching, how many days you coach.
Yes, it
You
does.
know?
It bothers him a lot. So, and he tries not to let it show, but I know, when it bothers him. So, know when to kind of sit back and just let him do
You ever
his
just
thing.
say, hey, we got to go. Let's just get out of town.
We did
let's
last
take a break.
weekend. We went to Nashville to see the Predators.
Yeah.
First hockey game that we've ever seen. And
Oh, really?
he loved that
Yeah.
because he's been dying to go. So that was so much fun just to get away.
Yeah. Sometimes you need that,
Yeah.
and just kind of refreshes. So is there, aside from COVID too, I imagine you see all the players out here, you get attached. Is there any season or anything, like one season in particular, where something stood out to you more, or like a particular group of students that you got super attached to, or are they all just equally as awesome?
I feel like at the end of each season, it always is emotional. Like you think,
Yeah.
after watching a senior night or a last game, you think after doing that for so many years that it would get you get used to it. But
You never
there's always
do.
the tears. You always
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
attached.
Yeah.
Each year you never get used to it. I guess, but
Yeah.
I feel like every year you get
Yeah.
attached, especially you have it for 4 years. And then you get used to the same parents and the
Yeah.
stands, and then after they graduate, it's like, oh, somebody's missing when the next
Yeah.
season rolls around.
And we're always there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And they, our kids, I can just remember when Brad was playing, especially that group, because we knew that those parents, because of Brad,
Right.
they were his friends. But Maisley was so little then. And I remember that next season, Maisley coming back and asking, where's Juju? And where's that? I was like, well,
man.
Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet.
You get attached.
And she was amazing as far as learning people. I mean,
Yeah.
real little, knew their names, first names and last
And what
People
number?
playing,
Hey, that's a
yeah.
gift.
What number?
Yes.
No way.
I mean, it was so much fun watching her, you know.
Well, on a little different note, like I remember when he started helping coach our nephew Hunter when he was young, and for me, I love to just even come to the practices because about the game, but the parents and all. I love every bit of it, you know. So even being there at the practices, to me, that's all a part of it, and I've had as much fun and enjoyed the practices, even just like the games. Might be bad to say, but I mean you do because you get to know those people really, really well. Yeah, you do.
And I know y'all pretty well make as many games as you can, but now with your kids playing, how do you balance that? Especially that's Coach Rob's grandkids.
Oh,
that's Jake's kids. So when his son or his daughter's playing baseball or softball,
the other day,
they've got a game night. How do y'all
When they
manage
had a
that?
game the other night, and it was Jackson's first game, well, I chose Jax. You know,
That's your grandbaby.
it's my grandbaby.
And Dad, I was like, Dad, you don't think you might reschedule this? He was
like,
We scheduled a varsity game. We got a T-ball game coming up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, already this coming up weekend being, the first round of playoffs, and Jax plays on Saturdays, and that's what Dad and I were just talking about. I was like, you think y'all can, manage a sweep so y'all can make it back?
it's a sweep. That's
No
what we're gonna do.
big deal. No big
Yeah.
deal, but I need
First
y'all,
thing.
Jax needs y'all on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Maisley starts this coming week too.
Yeah.
So.
I was gonna say.
Summer ball comes up, right?
Yeah. But the other day, Jake sometimes with being in driver's ed, he stops by my classroom, and I showed him my calendar. I was like, okay, I've mapped out all of your games left, and then Jackson Maisley's. And I was like, these are the days where I don't know what we're gonna do. And he was like, okay. He's like, I'm gonna have to go because it was like I
It's
don't
a day at
know.
a time.
Yeah.
I guess
don't
you'll
know.
have to do that though. I mean, it's like, hey, let's sit down. Here's what Maisley's got. Here's what Jackson's got. Here's your baseball schedule. Here,
Yes.
I'm going here at this time. I mean, you almost have to have a
But
schedule the first of the week for the whole week.
we think we're busy now. Just wait.
Yeah.
I know.
And then it flies by. You're
Yeah,
like, oh my
it does.
gosh.
It makes it fly by because you're always
Always busy.
doing something. Yeah, but we love it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
No,
Mhm.
I don't know how to do it another way.
You don't. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole being on the field.
Yeah,
I guess you've been on some kind of field since you could walk.
yeah. There's no
Yeah.
telling how many games I've attended in my.
I know. I wish you could
30
do
years.
tally, or if there was some way to figure it out.
Yeah.
It'd have to be thousands.
I can remember being little and there being a football game and maybe Mom wasn't feeling well or something, and she's like, I don't think we're gonna go tonight to the football game, and I was like, I
What do
remember
I do?
thinking,
What do I
are we
do?
allowed to do that?
Well, I'm just sick. I can go to the game.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we ended up going, but I remember
Yeah.
thinking, Mom, what?
Like something
That
must
was
be
probably
really
never
wrong.
amazed, yeah. I was little, because that traumatized me.
Well, that's another thing about this, about Host Bluff. Now your kids are doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen Jack since he was little with the Eagle costume and Mason. That's all they've ever known. Is there any particular advice that you could tell some of the wives, maybe either they're new into this coaching life or anything that might could help them out?
I think a lot of times at first you may be kind of jealous, that he's spending so much time away and you kind of take it personal. But, then after a while it's like, okay, this is what we're doing. And I had an outlet too. I work, but then I teach aerobics.
Right.
So that was my outlet. And, it works. So just, make sure you take care of yourself and do what you want to do while he's doing his thing. Don't just sit back and wait on him.
Yeah. Makes sense. That's good advice. What about you?
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
And embrace it because, being a wife, but also being a coach's kid and then sharing my dad with so many other kids and watching kids grow up, then coming back and thanking Dad and seeing how much it meant to those kids. I think, I got to share my dad. It wasn't that he took time away from me. I got to share him with so many other kids. So you got to look at it that way. They're out there for these kids. So
And they do
embrace
so
it.
much. I mean,
Yeah.
I refer back to things that Coach Rob, Coach Ball, all my coaches. I mean, even like when she said I was coaching my nephew and them when they were little, some of the same things that they were telling me all the way through high school, you take those tools and you apply them to your nephews or your kids or these other children. And it just is something that keeps going on. And it's,
Just how many lives are impacted by what your
So many.
husband's
Yeah,
doing.
it's true.
And you guys right there alongside of them, supporting them, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And you always do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not just an ego trip for them. they really care about these kids.
Absolutely.
So that's, it's good.
Well, that's a testament in the young men that have come out of the program that they've coached and grew up, just like our nephew Hunter, who's a senior this year and will be going off to college next year. It's just an awesome legacy.
I heard one coach say, if I can build a better man, I can get a better player.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of these coaches believe that, and they do that. They teach them not just to play at the next level, to live at the next level. Once they graduate, to go on and be men, learn how to show up to work on time, do the things they're supposed to do the right things, and they instill so much in all the young men and women that they coach. I just love it. So, well, I appreciate both of y'all taking time out of your Sunday afternoon to do this with us. Yeah. And again, this is Average Joe Sports Talk, and we're out here at the Hokes Bluff baseball field with Phyllis Robertson and Alex Ball.